So, who am I? Well, um, my name is Pai Schofors. I'm called the Price Whisperer, and I'm involved in a lot of business organizations. And of course, I have my new book out there called The Price Whisperer as well. Hi there. In this episode, I want to talk about how to implement the result of pricing research. So let's first just define what is pricing research. Well, pricing research is a subcategory of market research, and it's specifically done to understand the, what the marketplace to a company are willing to pay for their product or service. And pricing research, when it's done correctly, will allow the company to often increase prices and make it more profitable and increase growth and market share all at the same time. And obviously, I've been talking about that in many other videos, so I'm not going to cover that here. But how do you implement this? Well, first and foremost, when you do this pricing research, it's absolutely crucial that the result. I mean, you get a lot of data, right? A lot of data, and again, if the research is done correctly, you get a lot of data on how customers in a company's marketplace make their purchase decisions, I should say. What influences those decisions. And the various profiles of the various buyers and so forth. And of course, willingness to pay and specifically identification of price walls and which are psychological price points where small price changes generate significant change in sales volume. And not only predicting sales volume at different prices, but also predicting revenue and profits at different prices is obviously very important, because many times a company can make a choice, either select to use to focus its operation on maximizing sales volume, which is the right strategic choice in some cases, or in other cases focus on profitability or focus on revenue, because those are the right strategic choices for the particular company. And of course, this is so the pricing research need to include those variables. Otherwise, it's kind of useless. And it's also often useless if whoever looks at the data created in the research doesn't have actual business experience. It's not good enough to have some kind of research analyst look at the data and in a summary of some sort say, this is what the data says, because that is not for a company particularly actionable. What data says is just data. To be really valuable, it has to include what it means and what it means for the particular company in their particular circumstance. And in order to do that, it's absolutely necessary to have people with business experience to take that data created in pricing research and make it into actionable information and action plans, right? So that's the first thing to consider when looking at implementing pricing research, right? The other thing to consider is that pricing research will always discover new things. Every time a company do one of these pricing research projects, some of the variables that are being discovered is okay, I kind of knew that, but now it's good to know from hard data. And other information points are, I had no idea about this. This is a complete revelation. I did not know, right? And and that happens every time. That just every time. So pricing research will discover things that the company didn't really know, and that means that the company needs to be prepared to embrace this new information. The company needs to be prepared and willing to change, because the company is going to get new valuable information from its marketplace that it didn't know before, right? And if you didn't know it, you didn't act on it. Now you know it, and you have to act on it. And that is the same thing as it requires change, right? So if the company is not willing to change, there's no point in doing pricing research, right? Because it's gonna, the research is gonna end up as a stack of paper somewhere propping up the CEO's door or something to that ilk, right? That's probably not what you've done, what you want after you're spending whatever money you're spending on the pricing research, right? So it's very important that the output of the research is actionable, that is business oriented, and that is that it is relevant to the particular company's situation, right? Now, companies are typically rather resistant to change, and I'm saying companies here. What I'm really talking about is the individuals who are working in a company, all the way from the CEO down, right? They have their routines. They do what they've always done, and change is hard, right? So how do you make sure that the company is willing to make that change? Well, first of all, what you do is not only do you do your pricing research, and the pricing research, like I said, it would say this is the market's willingness to pay. This is what drives the purchase desire. This is what influences the purchase desire, and so forth. But then you want to administer a version of that same project to the company itself, right? To become another source of information. So on one end you have this is what the markets say, what drives the market, and so forth, and this is what the company thinks about the market, and there's always gaps, always gaps. And one reason why it's always gaps is that it's very hard for a company to really understand its market, because there's a term called buyer liar, right? So you talk to your customers, and some of them would simply be untruthful when you're trying to understand why they bought and why, and certainly most of them would withhold some level of information. And that means that companies typically get a slightly skewed perception of the marketplace. The other thing, of course, is that talking to customers is good, but those are already customers. The growth is going to come from those who are non-customers or non-buyers. So it's actually more important to understand what drives those non-buyers than what drives the buyers, right? And ideally, of course, you want to serve both these groups of people. So you have this gap analysis, what the market says, and this is what we think about the market, and that then needs to be turned into training material, right? And for relevant people within the organization. Certainly, those who are customer facing needs to be aware of these gaps and be trained on how these gaps can be mitigated, can be reduced. There are always going to be gaps. The question is, how big are these gaps? And so training is absolutely necessary. especially for these customer-facing people, like obviously salespeople, like marketing people, like customer support or customer service people, but also for those who do product development or those who do service definitions, because it's necessary for these folks to really know what drives the market better than they typically do today, right? And so, and training obviously is important, and it always needs to include a level of role play. Very uncomfortable for most people, but it's actually we know it is very important. You want to train to deliver whatever value description, and train on understanding the market on people who are not potential customers, right? You want to make your mistakes where it doesn't matter, right? And then of course this training needs to be followed up. You can't do it once, right? You have to do it maybe every 6 months, maybe every year, maybe every 3 months. It depends on your company. Depends on the kind of turnover you have and all different things. But it needs to be done. And because every market also changes. No, if nothing else, every market changes, because when you are starting to implement in your company the recommendation of the pricing research, you are changing the market. And because you are changing the market, the pricing research needs to be redone at some point, right? Again, within a year, within 2 years, within 3 years, something like that. So, and then of course there needs to be a process. There needs to be a process to make sure that these recommendations that is found in pricing research are actually implemented. That the people that are trained are actually action the way they should do on the training and so forth. So it's a very involved process, but it gives tremendous feedback and not feedback but results, right? And it's not unusual to find companies that conducted pricing research and then acted on it to double in size over a couple of years, right? They may have had flat sales for years and years, or nearly flat sales for years, and suddenly they can double in size. Suddenly maybe they become the market leader, right? So anyway, that's all I have to say. Pricing research, when you act it on, is involved, but it yields tremendous results. So think about that, and most importantly, think about whether your company is willing to change or not. Because if it's not, don't do the research. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of resources. But if you can embrace change for real, then it will have tremendous results, not only in revenue, profits, and shareholder value, but it actually will make the company a better place to work for, right? All right, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'm looking forward to see you on the next one. Thanks.